of the next generation. That is the generation. It may be difficult for someone in my position to give advice to young people. After all, what is there to look up to? I may have risen in the ranks of the armed forces of the Philippines, achieved levels of scholarship as a student, yet I have spent more than 6 years in prison and counting for acting on my beliefs. This is hardly a success story and not one that may inspire you. In spite of this, however, I have had the good fortune of being placed in a position of leadership. Yes, even from where I sit right now behind bars, and I don't believe I am in any position to control people, and yet consistently men and women have placed their lives and fates in my hands, and they still do. And you will be doing the same thing come May of next year, that is putting your lives and fates in the hands of a few men and women who will chart the course of your destiny at least for the next 3 or 6 years. But isn't it strange that those of you there in the forum are in your late teens and early 20s? As you know, Gregorio del Pilar was a general and martyr at 21. Aguinaldo was running the country at the age of 28. Bonifacio founded the Katipunan also at the ripe old age of 28. Teenagers barely out of their childhood years were essential to the Katipunan. They worked as spies, messengers, yes, even soldiers. One was not too young to die for one's country in the early years of the Republic. As history marched on, our people have placed their fates in the hands of progressively older leaders in the belief that they were or are more learned and wiser. It is said that the sorrow of the people of the United States at the untimely death of John F. Kennedy was due in part to the fact that they had lost a golden boy. A young person had finally been placed in charge of things, and a breath of fresh air was to be let into the stodgy halls of governance. Imagine the disappointment that immediately after his death, JFK's reins were turned over to the much older Lyndon Johnson, and power again was left in the hands of the old man. Not long after that, however, the young took their cue and charged their leaders with mismanaging their world. Here in the Philippines, I was in high school when the delegates for the Constitutional Convention were being elected. As a student leader at that time, it was an exhilarating experience to be at the forefront of activities aimed at urging the people to vote the right people to the assembly. The first quarter storm broke out in my senior year in high school, and I had a front row seat to men and women of my age stepping up and challenging our national leaders. I was a freshman in Diliman. In UP Diliman, however, when finally, despite our determination to assert our rights, martial law was declared. Though in the sidelines, I was not immune to the changes in the air then, and to the suddenly exciting possibility that yes, we would change the world, a possibility short-circuited by the sudden curtailment of our new freedoms and the beginning of the dark years of dictatorship. But even then, despite what history imposed upon us, we did feel then that we could change the world. We were quite young and felt, as the saying goes, we had little to lose but our change. And so we caused the world to change, and change it did. Despite the consistent failure of our leaders who subsequently governed us, the power of youth was rediscovered in that generation. It was that voice that led to the eventual downfall of a dictator. But the feeling of invincibility that comes with being young stayed with me as it did with many others. In 1989, as a young captain and chairman of the Young Officers Union, I led an uprising against a government that had been striding back into feudalism. My companions at the time believed, just as I did, and just as any young people ought to, that he had to have a hand in the world we were inheriting. In 2006, older and though no less determined to make a change, I, together with others, notably young officers, sought to withdraw support from a false leader, a usurper who had stolen the most precious of all our rights, the right to vote. Even now, the officers I was with at the time believed that despite the outcome of February 2006, we did what we had to do, take charge and at least try to change the world we live in. The year I spent in detention then had not affected the realization that we must initiate reforms, because, as is by now well known, in 2007, I and others, again young people, officers and civilians, took a stand in Makati. For no passage of time can rectify the falsity of our leaders. If it need be, I will insist on righting wrongs, just as I had repeatedly done so in the past, always in the company of young leaders who feel the same way. Perhaps the realization of the ability to take charge and change things is a little late in coming nowadays. Only 2% of 9 million persons who have recently reached voting age have registered to vote. When not being usurped, this is the strongest right bequeathed to us by our revolutionary leaders, the ability to choose our leaders. I hope that you do not let the failings of the old men deter you from stepping up and letting yourselves be heard. Your destiny is in your hands. You are the captains of your souls. Chart your course and lead the way for your countrymen. Maraming salamat.